Natalie. I graduated with a master's in development practice. And as you may or may not know, countries are coming together this December to create a new climate agreement. And it's going to impact all of us, so it's a kind of a big deal. And so last year, Mary Robinson came and talked to all of us, and she talked about how human rights and how the young people are going to be affected by climate change, disproportionately so compared to people who are in the older generations or people who have resiliency to climate change and are in populations that can react to and adapt to climate changes. So in the UN climate negotiations, we have a lot of youth, and they advocate for intergenerational equity, human rights, and important things that we should all care about. However, a lot of these youth are composed of people who are in upper middle class, and they usually reflect white people, and those are not the people who are generally affected by climate change. So as I was listening to Mary Robinson last year, I was inspired. I was like, we should be really investing in the people who are going to need to make these changes immediately, or their homes are going to be destroyed, and they're going to be affected by drought and a bunch of other things that are going to happen. So what the Agnes and Haury program has given us the opportunity to do is to fund 7 students throughout the country, from the Gulf Coast and areas impacted by Katrina to the Appalachian Mountains, to the Midwest, which is facing a lot of pipeline issues, to the Southwest, which has a lot of drought issues. And we're funding students that normally would not be able to go to the climate conferences through this grant, and another one that was matched by the Sierra Club. And with these 2 pots of money, we were able to fund people who would not normally be able to go to these conferences, to be able to speak on behalf of themselves instead of someone like me, for example, going in and talking about what these people need. They're going to go in for themselves to these conferences and be able to talk about what is happening at their homes and what people can do about it. For example, we have an Alaskan youth who is now facing how they're going to relocate their whole entire community currently because their island is literally being eaten away by waves. So it's like a very serious issue, and we are honored to be able to bring these youth to these UN climate conferences. And it hasn't happened yet, but we will give you an update once it does. We will also be working with Diana Liverman and the Climate Justice Network that she is putting together to amplify the youth voices that we all have, in addition to these youth who are going. This is, just so you know, a partnership between the Sierra Student Coalition, Sustain Us, and then the Energy Action Coalition. We all found youth who are in our group who wouldn't be able to go without these funds. And so these are the sponsoring organizations. And then if you are interested in learning more about COP21 and climate policy, I am going to be giving a talk on Monday in this building from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. And I'll be going over pretty much climate change, what the impacts are, the history of climate policy, and what you can do about it as we enter into these negotiations and pass these negotiations, because we have a lot of important moments like a presidential election coming up for these issues. So yeah, thank you.